Welcome back. Episode
Welcome.
just two of us.
I know, yeah, we're back to solo dolo. Although I do want to say we have like a great lineup
I'm really, really excited.
of
I'm
guests.
also like really like pat on the back for the people that we've gotten to be like, yeah, we want to be on the pod.
Yeah, like we have just been like shooting our shot with a bunch of like really great human beings, thinking that they'd be like, I don't have time for this, and like
They're
everyone,
like, we want to make time.
everyone's like, yeah, no, let's do it, and I'm like, great.
I also think it's pretty cool. People are like, when you're ready to go national, I've got people. And I'm like, we're ready to
Load
go
'em
national.
up.
The one thing we'll say though is that I feel like both of us are like, it's so different being in person. And in case you want to sponsor the podcast, maybe like with your private jet, we'd love to fly these
We'd
people.
love to, yeah. We have a bunch of like Zoom people that we could bring on, but it's so much better to sit
In
down
person,
and
it's
do
like
it.
like you feel the energy.
vibe is better, yeah.
So with that said too, we've got some of your favorites for sure coming on, but there's so many more people. So I know, there's so many different types of people that I think we've got on our lineup, but I think there's much more. So keep sending your faves of who you want.
Yeah, and we'll keep shouting them out.
But how you doing? How's it going? I don't know why it feels like a really long time since I've seen you, but not really.
I just saw you yesterday. I mean, I saw you yesterday
Did you
for
dye
8
your
seconds.
hair?
I did.
I really like
so
the
listen,
color.
you have to. So it's color. Did you color your hair? If my mom heard you say, she would say, "We dye Easter eggs, Jordan."
I'm sorry.
We don't color.
I'm sorry. Mom.
Yes, no, I got it. So,
I
anyways,
just started coloring my hair. So.
I just posted about this in my fight against male pattern baldness. Actually, it just turns out I needed a haircut.
No, it looks so good.
And
but the color
I
looks
did a glaze. So like,
love a glaze.
and she'll fade, and then she's a little darker right now, which I don't.
like it.
I do too.
I
Thank
think
you
it,
so
like,
much.
Really brings out your face.
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
I'm hitting on you right now. It's
You
okay.
are. It's fine. I'm gonna take it. Yeah, and she's got some volume. She's layered all up. We're on the rise.
It's good.
We're on the rise. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm feeling good today, and we're like a little cutesy because we got a date going on later.
I will get dressed better. We'll do one of those like TikTok transitions where it's like, I'm ugly. No, I'm cute.
No, we're actually. Look at us go.
We're girly on the town. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to treat we haven't had like an us moment in all of this chaos, which
like
I think.
Truly to like pat ourselves and like celebrate a little. To be like, hey, we've done this. Like we're doing it.
We're actively in it. Yeah.
I'm excited.
So vibes are good.
Yeah.
I had some therapy today.
Love it. I had to skip my therapy this week.
Tough.
Don't worry. I'll be there next week. She's my best friend.
Well, you also had a last minute like
travel
plan. Yeah.
Had to travel for work on Wednesday. I did 6:30 in the morning. I left, had the full day there, and I was so efficient with my time. I was like 3:00. We are leaving. We're packing it up. I had to check a bag. We'll check some stuff, check it in. And I was like, we're going straight to the gate. That's by the time I got to the gate, 2 minutes to spare before boarding. I was like, this is efficient. Doing the same thing, flying Monday night to Tuesday to Salt Lake City. Monday night, get in, I'll go to sleep. Wake up Tuesday, and I leave right after the event.
Listen, you got to get in and out of Salt Lake because let me tell you.
Everybody said, go to Park City. I was like, that's not where I'm going. Like,
no,
thank you.
It's close. Park City's like a half hour, but like, yeah, I was just there for a weekend and it was a lovely weekend away, but there is not.
Yeah.
Where are the Salt Lake housewives is what I want to know. Are they in Park City? They must be.
No, I think they're like I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to go explore, to be honest. My hotel was like 0.3 miles away from the office. So I'm like,
so you're like,
as
I'm not
close
here.
as I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right, great.
Just lots of travel. But I feel like with traveling, and there's a bit of this like in our Q&A too, but with traveling, I feel like I'm like so off my routine. And I'm like,
oh my God, yeah.
I like, from our episode of like eating disorders, I was like, I've gained weight, which I have, but like I feel like it's like stress and moving
also
all over.
Your gut does not perform with travel. Like
on the airplane too, my skin, like everything is just like, help me.
Yeah. We'll get you there.
Yeah.
We'll get you back there.
No, it's pretty, I'm like, oh, this is just crazy. I couldn't get an IV. I got injections to like help me pre-travel. I'm like, I can't wait till like November 6th, like be home and not travel and just like a little bit of just like flow in life.
Yeah. And a little more grounded.
Yeah.
Keeps you like going at
Stable.
a good pace. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's me. And yeah. I mean, I think this Q&A sesh today, we have to come up with a fun name.
We will. We always do.
Darius came up with, what was it? Like,
listen to me.
Ride my slide.
Darius is the most lovely human being that has ever lived. However, and he's going to listen to this because he's our first listener every single week.
Biggest fan.
Biggest fan. But like the name game ain't for him.
He literally was like, I think you should ask your listeners, ride the slide. I was
He
like, that
literally
doesn't even
was
make
like,
sense.
he literally was like, I mean, I nailed it, but whatever you guys say.
I was like, that's
oh.
just not the name of
For us.
Because he was like, well, slide into the DMs. And I was like, ride the slide is not it. That's not what we're calling this segment. So
we appreciate
thank you so much for your
the
feedback.
dedication,
we'll take it into
and
consideration.
please keep being our number one male listener. However, we're going to need you to take a step back here.
Also, shout out to like our Poland fans.
Yeah, the girlies have gone international on Spotify. We have like a Poland view, a Moscow view, which is scaring me slightly, just a little bit.
Canada.
UK. We've got 2 places in the UK. We've got Canada. We
are blowing the fuck up.
I mean, we can barely handle it over here.
I know. Monies keep rolling in. It's crazy.
It's honestly ridiculous.
But anyway, back to our Q&A segment.
Off the delusion, yeah. So
also, I think we should get like branded cards coming soon.
Yeah, we got a lot on the idea board. That's
coming around the holiday time too. Well, a little before the holidays, before everyone gets crazy, we'll do. We're in the midst of planning an event too. So Chicago locals. Sorry to our international fans. You want to fly in? It's cool.
Bring the jet. But
yeah.
So we've just gotten like, just since we've started, like DMs when either just to random stories or when we've asked about like, can you talk about this, this, and that? So we figured that we'd kind of tackle some of that now, and then we can do like more detailed episodes of things if we keep getting asked for like the same thing. But so we're just kind of going to bounce back and forth with topics you guys have asked us about, our opinions are, what we know about it.
And remember, it's just our opinions. So
don't
but
come
also
for us.
like don't be scared, quote scared, I don't know, scared to like come into our DMs and let us know like, hey, I thought this was really interesting, and start the conversation with us. Like that's what we're here for.
Yeah, love to do it.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's kick it off.
So we kind of like separated these into different categories. I say just start from the top.
Yeah, start from the top. We'll start with wellness. This is a big one.
This is an interesting one, I think, for both of us too, because this also comes into like our full-time jobs.
Yes. So we have gotten a couple of DMs about the GLP-1 Ozempic craze, which is actually something that I can speak to pretty well because this is a lot of what I do with patients at my day job. So I'm just going to give like a little, I'm not going to go into an in-depth science lesson about the GLPs, but like I'm just going to give you a brief little explanation and then kind of just like what I see go on and like my opinion on it. And then feel free to contribute or you know, clap back at me, like whatever it is you got to do. You do what you want when you pop in. So, but yes. Okay. So the GLP-1s, essentially it's a hormone that you make anyways, and it sends a signal to your pancreas to make more insulin. Okay, when you're supplementing it, meaning we're giving it to you like subcutaneously, which are injections, you get a couple of things from that as far as mechanisms that kind of aid the weight loss piece. So you do get the increase in insulin production. You have slowed gastric emptying, meaning that your stomach is just moving food through the digestive tract slower than you normally do. So that either causes you to be fuller faster or fuller longer. And then it indirectly inhibits what makes you feel hunger. So kind of cancels out what we like to call food noise. So just like those like cravings when you're not necessarily hungry, but it's what makes you eat and snack and yada yada. My opinion on this is I believe that there's a very correct way to do this, and I think there's a very incorrect way to do this.
Agree.
And I have seen both ends of the spectrum, but I will say that in my personal opinion, I have seen more of the like wrong way to do it. So firstly, if you're one of the biggest and worst, like everybody talks about the side effects, and there's all this other research coming out now saying it's great for anti-inflammatory. There's anxiety and depression studies with it, blah, 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 blah. I understand there's a bunch of benefits. I'm speaking to the weight loss piece only today. If you want to talk more side effecty stuff or like benefits later, we can get into that. But like simply talking about weight loss stuff, the biggest downfall to being on this is that when you drop a considerable amount of weight in a shorter period of time, you do have some muscle loss. Now, if you do it appropriately and you are in like charge of your eating, paying attention to your eating, focusing on eating appropriately, and you're doing things like strength training or whatever that fitness journey is for you, great, good, love it. There's an argument, which I would agree with, that if you are grossly overweight and it is affecting your health, that the risk versus benefit of losing, let's say, 20 pounds of muscle mass versus like the 50 pounds of adipose tissue, that's, you know, whether that's visceral fat, which is the fat that lives around your organs, which causes you problems later in life. Like, you would make the argument that like losing that 20 pounds of skeletal muscle mass is, you know, we'll work our way back up. I think for the people that are like, I have 5 to 10 pounds that I'd like to lose before this wedding, I think you need a reality check personally. I also have people come in that are looking for like 20 to 30 pounds of weight loss and they don't want to make any lifestyle changes, as in changing their diet, changing their movement habits, changing their sleep. Like, I don't think people also understand like how much sleep and things like.
Well, that's one of the biggest things I think about, like what I see on the outside is I feel like in America, we like a really quick fix and we don't want to put the effort in. And so I think people think that this is the solution. And I think it's become an acceptable solution.
100%.
That you can, I think like you said, and this is again, my opinion, I'm nowhere near as
Jordan loves to stress that this is her fucking opinion. She's like, someone's going to come for me.
Because I'm like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not anything in medical, but I like work in a medical facility. So I like see it all.
Sure.
But I think that a lot of people don't want to change their lifestyle. And so they're like, this is way easier. I'm just going to like take a shot. It's going to make me full. I'm going to lose weight and it's going to be amazing. And then they get upset when they're off of it and they gain weight.
Correct.
And I also say like, we cannot tell the shot to go like take away the fat.
And that's exactly the biggest, like when so essentially for lack of like medical explanation, the medication itself makes you put less food in your mouth.
Yeah.
And this is what I tell people all the time. Like in layman's terms, you're putting less food in your mouth. So when you're used to eating, let's say 2,700 calories a day, and that's not me going off of a certain number, whatever, this is just me freeballing it. If you're used to eating 2,700 calories a day and now all of a sudden you're taking in 1,900 calories a day, like that's a big deficit, which we know is what causes weight loss, right? Like that is simply what causes weight loss, is being in that calorie deficit. So with that being said, your body still needs fuel, energy, and it needs to make ATP, which is your driving force for energy. And so it's not there's this common misconception that it's this fat burning peptide, like it directly targets. That is not what it is.
Right.
At all.
That's why I'm like, I think there is a purpose to it. I think it's a great tool, but I think there's also some reality check that needs to be made of like, you got to put work in too.
Yes.
Because the long haul is like changing your life to maintain these habits. Maybe it's not maintaining 1,900 calories
whichever
a day, whatever, but it's maintaining a certain healthy weight for someone that they get to. And maybe that's like, I think the inevitable is you get off it, you'll probably gain a few pounds, but if you keep a lifestyle that is active, that is eating healthy, I think you can sustain weight loss.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've seen people do it. I've seen people be like, I'm just looking to lose 20 pounds, and they eat and they exercise appropriately, and they get we have a in-body scan at work, which is essentially like, if you know what a DEXA scan is, it's like a condensed version of a DEXA scan where it like uses frequency to pick up water versus muscle versus adipose tissue, et cetera. And it gives you like a breakdown on a printout sheet of like how much skeletal muscle you have, what your percent body fat is, and whatever. And this is how, again, if you're going to do this, I strongly think that you should do it at a place where you can have a nurse or nurse practitioner or PA or MD or whoever monitor you and do check-ins. I think that if you have no idea what to do with nutrition, it's worth investing in a nutrition piece.
That's what I was going to say too, is like finding the right partners to do it with. Someone who can say, this is how you should eat while you're on this peptide. This is how you like make sure you're getting in exercise and doing it right. The other thing I'll say is I think there's a very fine line, especially for myself, because my friends, when I was at a wedding, they were like, have you done it? Do you want to do it? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, fuck yeah. The eating disorder in me is like, hell
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
let's do it. So I think there also is that, initial consultation that needs to be done to be like, what's your history like?
Yeah,
What's
what's going
your,
on?
because it is a very slippery slope to go down if you are using it for the wrong reasons. Like if your
Yeah.
BMI is too low, if you're
Yep.
at a certain weight, like all of that.
And the fact that you can just get on these websites nowadays and answer like a virtual questionnaire
Right. And just like get
and then
it.
just get it in the mail is crazy to me.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, also, we have a personal story of someone, obviously not naming names, who did that and got very sick. Like they
Yeah.
were sent really bad. I think it was like semaglutide, really bad, and it made them sick. And so it's like, well, check your sources,
Yeah.
all of that. Because I think that's the crazy thing too, is like seeing commercials. Darius always says it. He's like, isn't it really wild that there's just like commercials where you can just like go like scan a QR code and get your drug?
Yeah. And I mean, again, we haven't been using it in the weight loss modality for long enough to produce enough evidence to say what like the long-term stuff is. Right now in the short game, like it doesn't look like there's a ton of like, it actually looks like there may be more benefits to being on it for people who struggle in like several, like whether that's cardiac or whatever. But still, like, I think what we're going to end up seeing is that people are going to have this like muscle wasting, or, in the medical world, sarcopenia, it's called. And I will tell you that, like, we sit here and we harp on strength training and all that
Yeah.
stuff and how important it is for you. That's because, like, sarcopenia at 80 years old will kill you faster than a pneumonia, than a
That's why I
COPD.
think there is that like guidance piece of it that we don't,
Yeah.
that people don't harp on, because it's so easy to just be like, I'm losing weight. Not I'm losing fat
Yeah.
or I'm losing muscle. It's just I'm losing pounds.
Yes, and that's what people don't like to hear is like I have patients that'll be like, the scale says this and I'm so happy, and I'm like, yes, but we've lost muscle mass and you've actually gained body fat percentage. So like we're actually doing you a disservice by letting
Right.
you be on this. And again, like your metabolism is in your skeletal muscle. The more skeletal muscle you have, the faster your metabolism is. So now imagine we put you on this drug, you're losing muscle mass, you're not compensating with what you're eating or how you're working out. You come off of it because you like the scale number, and then you gain all the weight back and you're like, what? I'm struggling worse than I was before because now my metabolism is slower
So
now.
what would you say to someone? Because I think there's probably a lot of listeners who are like, okay, you're talking about all these benefits and you're, whatever. But they're also like, if I go on it, what are things that you would recommend to someone going on it so that when they do get off of it, they don't see the sharp decline?
Yeah, 100%. I think that, like I said, for starters, one, pursue it through a facility that has a physician or a nurse practitioner or PA, somebody there to prescribe you appropriately, and then have the monitoring piece, which can be done, by a nurse or whoever. So place where you get it, most important, because you also need to be supported and like have somebody kind of check you and be like, hey, like, where are we at? What's, that kind of thing. So I would say that. I would say if you're not fluent in like how much people think they're eating a lot of protein sometimes, I think, and they actually don't know that they're not eating a lot of protein. So like what I always tell people is get an app, any of the free ones. Don't pay money for it because it's not worth it.
You also can get, like, I bought it, like a little scale from Amazon to
that-
weigh the protein
Yes,
so that you
yes.
can see how much protein.
How much
'cause I
you're
was
actually
like,
eating.
I was eating like these big ass chicken breasts, and I was like, wow, that's actually like 80 grams of protein. 'Cause
Right.
we got like the really big ones, and I was like,
Yes.
that's like a lot.
Right. So
Not
people
bad,
don't
but
know. And if
yeah.
you're not used to paying attention to it, because most people aren't, again, because we're so undereducated about nutrition in this
Yeah.
country, like you don't know. So I always say, like, get an app, track it, not for the purposes of what your calories are or like whatever, just to see like the foods that I'm eating, what do they actually look like at a macro level? Like, am I supporting myself with enough protein and, healthy fats and things?
Yeah.
Because you don't actually know if you don't check. If you're not and you struggle with that, like I would suggest reaching out to, somebody, a nutritionist or somebody who's certified to like give you that kind of knowledge. I always tell people, like, I can suggest like quick protein hacks, like off the top of my head, because that's the type of life that I live. But again, like I'm not certified to give you a meal plan to go
Right,
home
yeah.
and eat. So it's like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for, I need ideas, or are you looking for, I need a structured diet?
Yeah.
So I would say that. And then two, like, again, just like investing in the fitness piece. Like if you don't know what you're doing at the gym, like figure out how you're going to figure that out. And like I will always harp that strength training is the best. But again, like if you're not somebody who wants to get in the gym and weightlift, like what are you like I've
Start
had
walking.
start
I always say this to
walking.
people, like,
Yeah.
just start getting, and it's not 10,000, 15,000. Like, start with like 5 to 7,000 steps, you know,
Yeah.
like just start moving your body a little bit. I think a big thing is like obviously moving your body, period. But it sounds like with this, strength training and building that muscle
Yeah.
is a huge piece
The
of
muscle,
it.
it's if you've never done movement before ever and you're like need to get into something, walking, all of those things, low impact, totally great. Also strength training can be low impact.
Yeah.
You just need to find like the right. But strength training at the end of the day, especially on these GLPs, is like going to be your best friend. And again, like I know somebody's going to clap back at me and be like, all of those things that you just listed cost a bunch of money. And you want to know what? They do. There is
But so
cheaper
does
ways to do
GLP-1s,
things. But
you
so,
know?
right. Like, but if this is a journey that you're going to be on,
Yeah.
like you need to cut the going out to eat or like
I think also you need
stuff
to
that costs money.
invest in it, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're gonna be on this like cycle of like, I lost weight but then I gained it, and then I lost it and then I gained it, without being like, I'm mindfully losing weight and here's
Yeah.
why I'm sustaining
And
it.
like, who wants to be on and off of something that costs a bunch of fucking money?
Right,
Also,
yeah.
like, let's not forget, like, it costs money a lot, honestly, to be on. Sure, like, what have I seen at cheapest? Like $225 a
Right.
month, but that's still like
Yeah.
$225 a month is like a nice ass gym membership. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So like, if you're gonna spend the money, it's a lot of money. Like, you might as well like couple it with the things that make it successful.
Totally. Yeah.
So
I agree.
that's my stick. I think that, you know, there's a completely appropriate way to do it, and I think there's a completely inappropriate way to do it. And I think that like these places that allow people to get on it to lose 10 pounds for an event is like, we
Yeah.
are just feeding the toxicity of like inappropriate like body dysmorphia and like
We all, yeah.
the whole thing.
There's
So,
a lot.
but yeah, that's my GLP.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, next. Supplements, what's good and what's not worth your time. The first thing I'll say is like, there's a lot of people who are like, take this supplement, do this,
Yeah.
do that. It's like, I feel like everybody is so personal that
Yep.
like there are so many supplements that are good for you, that are good for me, but we're different people. I always think like people sell you things. Like I always see like a lot of like
Mhm.
seed or ritual
Mhm.
or a certain probiotic or something. And I'm like, maybe you need that, but maybe you don't. Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's a really personalized journey for supplements.
You got to be careful with the probiotics too, like PSA, because like a lot of them don't even surpass the points in digestion that they need to survive to get to aid your gut health.
Yeah.
So like all of these things that are marketed like on TikTok or wherever it is that like best probiotic, like you need
Or
to
I
like
just saw like pour this in and it'll lower your cortisol, and I'm like,
we're like
what? I'm like,
if it here's my advice on the supplements. If it sounds like it's too good to be fucking true, it's too good to be fucking true.
Yeah.
And there is not one thing that like anybody could take. Like it's not a one size fits all. We always say this, but it's genuinely not. The probiotic thing, I think you need to like really dive into and, you know, see. You can pop a multivitamin every day, but unless you actually know what you're deficient in, it's kind of
Right.
like
I think it's like my thing too is like get a blood test, see what's going
Yeah.
on, and have someone tell you these supplements would be good for you.
yeah.
Like, you know, I'm a big like, I'm a great sell. Like you can sell me on
Oh,
so
yeah,
much
yeah, yeah.
stuff. And so I'm like, oh, creatine, like I should take that. This, I should take that. Oh, this, whatever. But then I met with someone who was like, okay, let's like figure out what's going on
Mhm.
and let's figure out like where you need to actually like benefit from supplements.
Yeah.
And that's the journey I'm on. But I think a lot of people just like are like, that's cool, I'm going to take that now, without really knowing like a why or if they actually need it.
If they need it, yeah. And I mean, even like with, it's funny you just brought up creatine because somebody who asked me this question about supplements was actually like, why should I be taking creatine? Like somebody said it's like really good. And there's also this giant, here's the thing, it goes both ways, right? So there's something that can be sold as like this great thing that it's not. And then there's like things like creatine, which are given this like, you know, umbrella of like, it makes you put on weight, it makes you this. And until you like actually research and like break it, it's actually like one of the most widely studied supplements in like the realm of fitness. And it it can benefit you if that's what you're looking for. You know, it gets
Yeah.
processed in muscle to create ATP, which is what you need for energy. There's some brain health benefits to it. Like, but again, it's like, what are you taking it for? Are you
Right,
just taking
exactly.
it because someone told you to take it? Because then again, I don't advise.
100. That's what I think too.
You know?
I think supplements is a very personalized journey. I think it's something that like understand your why and not just do it because the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah.
And
A big one is like the greens powders that are
Yeah.
like the AG1.
they actually taste like shit.
They don't
Although I
taste
haven't
good.
had AG1 before, so I can't speak on that one. But some
I
of them
haven't
really
either,
don't
honestly.
taste good. And I'm also like, why can't we just like eat vegetables?
And I guess that's the argument too. Like, so I've taken a greens powder before too. And like for a
Well, so
while,
have I.
yeah, like we've all done it. You're like, I'm less bloated. I swear to God. And then you're not.
The
But
placebo effect.
yeah, it is the placebo effect a little bit. But again, if you're somebody who's like, I just fucking can't get a vegetable in, okay, fine. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
all perspective. It's all.
They also have like some good vitamins in there that like
Yeah,
maybe could
yeah.
benefit you.
But if you're taking a greens powder because you saw some girl on TikTok be like, it's going to
Yeah.
debloat you like no other, you're going to have the flattest stomach, like that's not the reason to be taking
That's
that
also
either.
like false advertising.
It
100%.
is. It
Like,
is.
let's get real.
Yeah.
No, totally agree. In alignment.
Okay. Supplements, check.
Check. Cycle syncing.
Cycle syncing, we actually just, for the first time, I deep dived a little further after we spoke
Yeah.
with Olivia because she was saying a little bit on cycle syncing, which is funny because a couple of people commented about that and were like, that's so crazy because like I've been looking into cycle syncing. So
Yeah.
essentially, cycle syncing is you train differently depending on the phase of your menstrual cycle, which makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about and like plan. But like I will tell you, when I'm about to get my period, like the weights at the gym are heavier than they are on
You're
a regular
sluggish.
day.
You feel more tired.
Yeah. So if you're the type of person who's like finding it hard to get into like a gym routine and it's like next thing you know you blink and it's like menstrual cycle and you're miserable and you don't even want to go at all, maybe like look into like training harder when you're in the beginning of,
I think it's
you know.
interesting to just understand a little bit more about like what's going on and why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Because I think a lot of the times like we're all like, oh, I'm PMSing or I'm irritated or I'm this. But I think like with cycle syncing, I don't do it personally, but
No, me neither.
more and more I've been more curious about it, I guess, because I've been hearing it more. And I think there are some serious benefits to it because I
Yeah.
think your body is trying to tell you something. And if you listen to it, you'll likely have more benefits than just whatever the fuck you want to do, whatever. So I think if you're going to do it, look into it, figure out your why, and figure out what works for you. What Joe Schmo is doing on the internet is not maybe what would work for you, but it's also like foods you should eat and understanding your emotions
Yep.
and then understanding what fitness you should do at certain times based on your period or your menstrual cycle. So I think it's really interesting. I just don't personally do it myself.
And I've never been like inclined to, and I guess I am on a birth control, but like I don't off of birth control. I guess I have like a way worse period, but like on it, like I don't although this period that I just had a couple weeks ago, I was insufferable. I was insufferable, but like I was like, I hate myself right now. But like, I don't struggle enough from menstrual cycle symptoms, and I guess I'm severely blessed from that because a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But like, it's never been an issue for me to need to pursue. But it's interesting because now I pay attention to it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I am a little more gassed than like I would have been 2
or
weeks
bloat
ago,
or
yeah.
feel like breasts or
I
whatever
know you
it
see
is.
everybody do it on TikTok. They're like in their little gym fit in their shorts, and they're like, "Look at me in my follicular phase," and
My
then look at me
luteal
here,
phase.
and then look at me here.
Yeah, I'm not on birth control, so I do see a little bit more of like this like fluctuation throughout the month. So that's why it's been more like curious to me because I never felt anything when I was on birth control, like ever.
Yeah.
I was like, my period, maybe I had it for like a day. Now I have it for like 3 to 4 days. Like, so it's definitely, and I'm also on a journey to like lessen the days of my cycle because they're longer than they like quote unquote should be.
Yeah.
So that's why it's more interesting to me. But again, like, I also think like I'm not an expert, so this would be a lot of just like the internet, like teaching me, helping me.
yeah.
So that's where I'm also like, okay, like, but I do think it's interesting.
And I think also like as you go and you like research these things, just like check your sources. Like, is it
100%.
if it's a .com website and it's like the title is gimmicky and grabby and all this stuff, maybe let's find like a .org or like a .gov, like somewhere with like an accredited.
You know, Kimmy Chris, she does a lot of like cycle syncing PCOS stuff with her fitness. And she just worked with a doctor to talk about like cycle syncing hormones and stuff like that to put together a program. So she would be a source that I would say look into, like check it out and just see if it's for you, because I do think it's a reputable source, and I think she's doing it the right way where she's like looking for licensed people to help with these certain things.
Yeah. And I've said this before, the uterus is a scary place. Like it's not something to just like fuck around with.
Yeah.
Like, in any way. But
all right. Wellness.
Check.
Work. Okay.
Okay.
Work. So going from corporate life to not corporate life, how to transition and making the jump.
I feel like this is a question for you because
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's interesting because I've gone from the corporate life to like many small business life. And I think there's benefits to both. I think the corporate life, you've got a lot of structure. You've got a lot of people to work with. You've got specific teams. So you're not doing everything yourself. You've got people to do your copy. You've got people to graphic design. You've got people to handle social, people to handle operations and HR. And you've got all of those teams that have like their certain place. And I think that really gives you the like ability to grow in like that corporate ladder life. I don't think it's bad. I think people like corporate gets this really bad rap of like, oh, it's like the grind and like it's so you're, in a box. I think that if you find the right corporation, there's a lot of freedom and flexibility and ability to really grow your skills. The reason I left quote unquote corporate was I was moving. And like that's really it. And then I've had a few jobs that are not in corporate. With a small business, you wear many hats. Like I'm at a small business right now. I'm in marketing. That means I do events, email, social, influencers, partnerships, website, graphic design, copywriting. I also am the fun committee, which means trying to help people stay happy. Like that's a lot of things that you're doing
for one person. Yeah.
But it also gives you skills that are like life skills that you just like have the ability to handle everything. I think there is a lot of chaos that comes with that because you don't have the structure of a corporation. So you have to be the type of person that's okay with a little bit of chaos. And and I think this is right now where I'm trying to find this balance of like not working 80,000 hours a week. And really, because it's not technically a 9 to 5 like corporate. So it could be 8 p.m. at night you're working or a Saturday or Sunday. So I think there's that balance. I think having the conversation with yourself of what works. I had this conversation with my therapist where I was like, sometimes I want to be my own boss. And other times I like having a boss where I'm working for someone else. Some days I just like overanalyze probably what I'm meant to do in life. And I think really looking at like what environment makes you want to succeed. Is it, a lot of people say for marketing, you like don't have to be passionate about the business. I think it helps to be passionate about like what you're selling. But I also can see how marketing a doorknob could be a really easy gig, thing to do. So I've really had to take a hard look at what type of environment do I thrive in and what do I like to work in. And I think there's also this really big hustle right now of being your own boss and kind of making your own
100%
world type of thing, especially in marketing, being freelance marketing and being able to have like multiple clients and bringing in more income because you've got multiple clients, but kind of sticking to a specific field. So like you're just doing social strategy for multiple clients and you're making X amount of dollars. And the one thing I'll say is when you go freelance, you've got an opportunity to make high income one month and then you go really low the next month. So you've got to, again, be able to like budget yourself, et cetera. So I don't know, that's a lot of like things being thrown out, but I think it's really understanding what you thrive in, because also if you're going to go freelance or you're going to be in a company that has no structure, if you're not able to give yourself structure, you're not going to succeed and you're just going to kind of be like lost and probably not do enough and the company's going to notice.
This segues a little bit into like the next piece, but like the work
yeah.
from home. So like someone was like, how do you like work from home culture? How do you balance that with like not being sluggish and yada, yada, yada? How often would you say you actually work from your home?
I would say it's interesting because I did a lot during the pandemic where I was like at home. I built myself a little office.
I know. I think a lot of people,
and,
yeah.
you know, that was that. Probably the past year, I've been in this kind of like shit where I'm like, my home is now my work. It's now
Yeah.
sometimes my gym. It's like all of these things that just kind of like meddled. So I think there's a benefit of getting out of your house.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I don't think it's I need social interaction. That to me is like, you probably get social interaction in other ways.
Yeah.
But I think there's getting into a coffee shop or going somewhere else, even if it's like in your home, you've got an office that feels like an office. It's not a bedroom because that was mine. It's in a bedroom. There is something freeing and like the ability to like actually get more done when you step out of the office.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a wave of I get so much done at home, but it's like, how much more do you get done when you step out of the house?
Yeah.
You're not distracted. You don't want to turn on the TV. You don't want to get up and get a snack. You don't want to like do a lap just because, or like cuddle with your dogs for a little, which I always want to do. But like, there's a difference to that. I think the work from home life is great. I truly love the ability to like have that flexibility in my own life. But I also think it can get, if you stay in your like home, that is where the sluggish comes in.
Gets a little, yeah.
I bought this this tray that just like, it's literally like a tray and you just put it on the top of a treadmill because I was like, I'm sitting. Like I'm literally so sedentary all day. I'm not walking around. I'm not doing anything. And I was like, I have access to treadmills. So to pay $300 for a walking treadmill seems silly to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally in my home, we have a home gym. I can go upstairs. So I bought this tray. I can put my computer on it. Obviously, I'm not designing emails when I'm on there. I'm not.
Right.
It's more like my admin days where I can like go and just like answer emails, reach out to people, do some research, whatever it is. That's where I can like spend an hour, 3.0, little incline, probably like 2.0 incline. And I just walk for an hour doing some admin work. That to me helps at least like get the blood flowing, get the body moving. But my advice would be, if you cannot like afford, because a lot of the like co-working spaces are expensive, get out to like a coffee shop that promotes like working. There's a lot of like cute little coffee shops that you can do it. I think that actually helps.
Yeah, to step outside. And I think it gets your perception of your own life and like mental health sometimes gets a little skewed when like everything becomes one space.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be like, where is how do you unwind in a space that is also the space that you work in?
Well, this was something that actually Darius and I just went through where we both work from home.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Work from home, have dinners at home, everything. And it became this like, why didn't you say hi to me when I walked by? And it's like, do you say that to your coworker?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
If I'm in Jason's office and you walk by, like, you're not like, why didn't you say hi to me?
Yeah.
It's like, it's so different. And so we've both been trying to get out of the house more and more lately. And it's like, given this like sense of almost like, we're closer now because we're not on top of each other all day.
The time, yeah.
And we don't have a big enough space where he can have his own office and I can have my own office. And so it's not like we have this separation spaces. It is like we're on top of each other. So you think about it and you're like, wait, I work here. I sleep here. I unwind here. I eat here. All of it becomes one space and it becomes you and your partner just become this like, not codependent because that's not the right word, but it's like you become on top of each other and almost
like
suffocated.
This glob of human, I feel like.
And so I think it is like there is so much benefit, especially as we get into colder months of like getting out of the house.
I know. And that's like one of the big things we should touch on is just like, as we are, we've talked about this before, but making that transition to like the dark depression like stages, like it's already starting. We need to like be a little proactive and like, how are we going to change our work from home life? Not me. I wish, I sit here and I'm like, I wish I could work from home. And then I'm like, I'd be so fucking bored. Like, I don't even know. But I've never lived that life.
But you also like, you have to do things like to
Correct.
people.
Correct.
Whereas I'm like, I could have a day that I'm just straight up like answering emails, doing
yes.
research, writing things, whatever it is that I'm doing, planning.
Yes.
And so that's where it's like, okay, I'm on a computer all day, but I also like lately I've been like, I think I need blue light glasses because I'm staring at a screen all day.
Something's screwing with you. Yeah. But it's funny that like everybody, majority of the population, I would say, like has this like PTSD almost situation from working from home with COVID because they felt so like isolated. And
Right.
like I never experienced that because like me and my friends just like went to work every day because we were like overtime, like why not? And there was nothing else to do.
Yeah. And
so
we're
it's
like
always
stuck indoors.
Yeah. So it's always interesting to hear people, say like how when some of us were just like begging to like be at home and sit down, like how suffocating it is to
Because I
be
think there's
in
a
that
fine
space.
balance of like, there's a lot of freedom from home, but then there's a lot of just like that push, and you get comfortable. You get comfortable knowing what you know.
It's
So.
true. Yeah. All right.
All right. Fitness. Woo. Okay. So we've got like a lot of, honestly, like a fair amount of questions here. But I think a lot of them like go together. So
yeah, we'll just glob it all together.
Yeah. So where to start and how to even begin in the gym?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
That's a loaded question.
I think the first thing I'd say is like the curiosity in it is like the first step. Being like, I want to go to the gym is a great place to start. I think the gym can be this intimidating place. And it's funny because I'm working with my personal trainer and I'm like, I just want to get more comfortable like walking through the space and utilizing all of these machines that look like they're wild. So if you can afford a personal trainer, that is a great place to start. I think a second great place to start is if you have access to a gym that has classes.
Yeah.
That is a great place to get comfortable with certain movements.
And once you start crushing it in a class, you have the confidence to kind of be like, I've mastered this.
Yes.
Now let me try something else. That doesn't mean you go from like group fitness straight to the gym floor and like whatever.
But there's a lot of trainers that walk around the gym floor too that obviously want to sell you, but also like would help you with a machine.
If you, yeah. I think it's just picking I always say like put yourself in an uncomfortable spot because that's how you grow and become better. But like when you're getting into the swing of things, maybe like err on the side of something that seems more comfy for you to begin with, and then work on like building from there. So I would say, like classes is a great start. Also, which this was another question. It was like favorite at home YouTube fitness or like whatever. There is a ton of shit on the internet.
Yeah.
There is a ton of shit on the internet. Like if you were just like,
I think look at like when you find something, the arrow method, just saying, www.thearrowmethod.com, you can take bar, yoga, yin, all those classes, just saying. But when you look at
shameless plug,
the internet, I think you really need to look at people's certifications because a lot of people, and this goes from fitness to whatever, but a lot of people just say they're certified, but really they probably watched a lot of YouTube videos and started teaching themselves. So it's really easy to start at home, but I would also encourage you to go in person somewhere so that a proper instructor can also look at your form. Yeah,
at home fitness is great, and it's especially like it's an inexpensive resource, and like for somebody saying like I don't have, X, Y, and Z to spend, totally get it. But the problem becomes is that sometimes, and depending on what you're doing, of course, but like sometimes if you start practicing with the wrong form, that's going to hinder like your movement and you get injuries and like your ability to like progress and all that stuff. So it's a great, at-home stuff is a great resource, but I think you just have to like.
I think if they have live classes too and the instructor or trainer is able to look at your body and be like, tighten your core, lift your back, press down through whatever it is. Like, I think that's also helpful because there are some really great online fitness instructors.
That's a tidbit to pay attention to too. Like if you are taking a class, an online class, whether it's YouTube or like it's something that you found or it's like somebody's thing that you paid for and like whatever, if they're able to cue you through movement in a way where you're like, oh, I do need to tuck my pelvis here. Like if you feel like they're able to be virtually constructive without even able to see you, then I'd say that's probably a good, because sometimes you're just like, how the fuck would I know what certification this person has or doesn't have?
Totally, true.
But like if you're doing a video and it's just like they're flying through movement and like you're a newbie and you're not like well versed, see how they're cueing you to move your body. Like, are they giving you the adjustments? Are they telling you like, this is amped up, here's how you scale it back? Is there a
Yeah.
modification? Like, all
I think that's
within.
hard too with like fitness programming, like when you like for a personal trainer, and I'm not a personal trainer yet. Studying. But with personal training, when you have like this online program where someone can just like do it, it's also like you want that connection to be like, are you doing it right?
Right.
And one of the things my trainer does for me, or we're working on her doing, is like, I can show you how to do it. And she's very good at her cues, where she's like, you know, elbows go here, push here, you want the bar here, whatever it is. So I think there is a benefit to it. But I would say if you've never done fitness or you're very new to fitness, try to get in person.
Yeah.
And that goes into like, is ClassPass worth it? I actually like ClassPass.
I do as well.
I think there is a huge benefit to being able to try different studios. What I will say is on the studio side, and I know this from where I worked prior, they do not make barely enough money, and the model may have changed because this was years ago, on your reservation on ClassPass. So if you like a studio, it benefits the studio for you to just purchase classes through them.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is like a shout out to the small studios that are very like, they need ClassPass for exploration, but also like just note that like show them some love by buying a class pack if you're into them.
Yeah. It gets a little hard, ClassPass does, especially with like some of the big corporate gyms. Like, you can't get a solid core class on fucking ClassPass unless it's at 4:15 in the morning or 8 p.m. at night.
Or
like,
also like 25 credits.
or expensive as fuck. And that was something that one of my friends actually asked and was just like, how the fuck do you go about like even picking where to go, because everything is so goddamn expensive? And it is. Like, boutique fitness and like corporate fitness is pricey because you're investing in like the brand and the name and like their community and whatever. So like, I can understand it gets, sometimes ClassPass gets frustrating because you're like, I signed up to do this because I wanted to try this one place and I cannot get into it.
Yeah.
There's no slot available.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to play like the booking game a little.
Yeah, I think that's something too. But that's also like, I think that's the studio being like, we're going to open up 1 or 2 spots, but we want people to actually like pay for what we're offering.
Yeah.
Because they're paying their instructors, they're paying their overhead, all of that stuff. But I do like ClassPass for the sense that like you get the ability to kind of like play around. And I said this like a long time ago where I was like, as millennials, we don't like to commit. I said this like in dating, and I was like, we don't like to commit. So we like the idea of having multiple options, and ClassPass allows that.
And maybe if you're like just starting out and like you want to invest money in like a studio, maybe pick one that offers more than one format.
Yeah.
Like, don't shovel all your money into solid core and then not be
Totally.
like, my expenditure for fitness is like, I can only come here,
Yeah.
you know? And like, I mean, no, I go to solid core myself. You can't fucking
it's the
train.
Most humbling class
It's
ever.
the most humbling class ever. You cannot train your core like that in any other format. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, you just can't. But at the same time, there are small boutique studios in the city that offer Legree or like another form of like reformer or megaformer or whatever it is that like, sure, it doesn't have like the freaking solid core slapped across the shirt, but like it's
you
a similar
can
workout,
get, and I also think like you can build your way up to a like solid core class, because I always say like solid core is like the hardest. There is nothing, in my opinion, harder than solid core, and it is humbling. The instructors know how to push you and then be like, nope, you can't give up, because they'll put their hand right there and you're like, fucking move your hand or I'm going to kill you.
Get the fuck away from me, Tracy.
And that comes into like how to feel comfortable in a new class. The biggest thing is, and we said this before, no one is fucking looking at you, and no one actually cares that you're there besides the instructor.
Yeah,
the instructor is like so grateful that you're there, and they're going to look at you.
I fucking promise you that anybody in a class, especially if there's a mirror present, is looking at them fucking selves.
100%.
They are looking at themselves.
I think when you feel uncomfortable, you're looking at everybody else, and maybe you make eye contact because they see you looking at you, but they're actually so focused on themselves. And I think that a good studio with a good community will make you feel welcome. And they will know, I know a studio when I go in and I'm new and they give me a tour, they make me feel special because I'm first there, and they'll be like, have you taken class before?
Yeah.
have you done a XYZ class? No. Great, whatever. But they'll make you feel welcome.
Yeah.
Other than that, no one else cares. And the instructor should, if they know you're new, really take note of your form, make sure that you're doing things right, pacing, whatever it is, and come over to you. And don't be embarrassed if an instructor comes over to you and says, like, lift
And
your
corrects
hips,
you. Yes.
lower down your
yes.
knees, makes you modify. I'm always like, fucking modify so that you can build up to doing the move correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're not there to like
Shame you.
or
We're
make
there to
you feel.
support you
Yeah, no,
and make
entirely.
you-
We want you to be stronger. Like there's nothing more rewarding than seeing somebody. I was just having this conversation with one of the girls that I instruct cycle with, but like she was like, I have these like regulars that come on the day that she teaches, and she's like, they're getting like so strong out of the saddle. Like we talk about that shit behind the scenes.
Yes.
We're like, yes, go off. Like, you know, we're not, so if we're pushing you, and I always say this in class, like, I'm going to push you. Like, I want you to push back.
Yes.
Like, I'm not, and it's not because I'm trying to make your life miserable. Like, I just.
Right. I'm trying to make
That's the
you
point.
leave
Yeah.
feeling stronger, empowered, better than you walked in the room.
Yeah.
Because you're in this room for 45 minutes, 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. You're in this room for a limited amount of time. I want you to leave feeling, maybe it's stronger, maybe it's calmer, maybe it's whatever, but that's why we're there. And I think people are there to feel that themselves. They're not there to compare themselves, hopefully, to other people.
Yeah. And I mean, there's, you know,
There's
like at the end of the day,
aspects
people
of
are,
that to everything,
yeah,
but
people are going to, you know, think and do what they think and do. But for the most part, I think you can.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this ties into like the next thing that's like, how do you stay on track? I think some of these things you just fucking have to do.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like, I keep getting this question so much. It's just like, how do you stay on track? How do you do this? How do you do, like, I wish I had a better explanation for you other than like, you just fucking do it.
You
like,
get a choice.
Yeah.
You can choose not to, or you can choose to. And I think a big thing is a lot of people choose not to because it's easier. And that's a habit they haven't built.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to be willing to say, I'm going to do it. And again, maybe your friend does it with you. Maybe you two do it together because you know that you have to meet Jenny tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning. So you're going to show up.
Or else she's going to be like, where the fuck are you?
Right.
Like, yeah, no,
like maybe
for sure.
that's what it takes is a buddy. And I don't think that's bad.
It's not. And I like have said in the past, you know, because I'm like by now everyone knows like I'm just an early gym person. And it's just like 3 people now have been like, I have replayed that podcast line of you being like, you could stay in bed and get another shitty hour of sleep, or you could just get the fuck up and do it. And they're
Right.
like, I just like,
Get the fuck
like,
up and
yeah,
do it.
like, so it is, there is no, like, I wish that I had this thing that was like
an equation.
but 80% of it, I swear to God, is mental fucking toughness.
Yeah. I think
really
it's the way
is.
that you just like say to yourself, we're getting up, we're going to do it, or we're going to go there, or I booked this reservation. Honestly, with ClassPass or any of these things, you pay for it. So
And you get
literally,
charged
like,
hella money if you don't show
you're
up.
just like wasting money if you don't do it. So it's like you might as well just go get the workout in.
Yeah.
And
I mean, everybody has their days, right? Like I sit, like it's not like I'm a 10 out of 10 every day of the week
No.
and like I get and go.
of course,
There's exceptions, but at the same time, it's just like also you have to ask yourself, like, how many exceptions have I given myself this week? Has it been
Yeah.
4? Because maybe is this just an off week for me, or do I just need to get it the fuck together and
I
get
think
moving?
that also, like, if you go to a studio and a gym as well, like, you start to become immersed in the community.
Yeah.
That you like. I also love when I see people be like, oh my God, hi, and they're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
best
yeah,
friends in
yeah.
class, and you're like, this is so cute. And then I love knowing about their lives, so I feel like I'm also like a friend to them as well.
Yeah.
And I think that becomes like more of a reason to show up too,
Yeah.
because you're like, hey, I'm friends with blah blah blah, and we're gonna go work out together.
Yeah. I think probably the best bit of advice other than like
Show the
just
fuck
fucking
up.
do it. Yeah. Is we're like the most inspirational people that I've is buddy up with somebody
Yeah.
that's like they've already, whether it's like they're relying on you and you're relying on them and you're both getting started, or like they're already well established in their fitness journey or whatever. Like
Yeah.
accountability, it's like, because then when you like are like, I'm not gonna make it, you have that internal like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm not gonna
I'm
be there.
disappointing them.
Yeah.
Even like talk to your instructor and be like, hey, I'm really trying to make 8:30s, or I'm really trying to make like the 6 a.m.s. Like, you're my accountability partner. Like, they'll be like, okay, great.
See you
See you
then.
next week.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
And get a jump on it now, because
it's
when
going to get harder starting tomorrow.
no, No, literally tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was going to say,
Yeah.
is it's already cold and like
It's already dark.
It's already all these things. But I will tell you that you will never, ever, ever regret
No.
like getting up and doing it.
Never.
Never, not fucking once.
No. You
Never,
will never
not
be like,
fucking
oh,
once.
I can't believe I did that. You'll be like, fuck, I feel so good. And then your day started or your day's ending, whatever it is.
Or
whatever
guess what?
time.
Like you go and you get a shitty workout in sometimes, but like
you
it's
moved.
still movement.
And that's even walking. Like even going for a walk, whether it's a treadmill or maybe it's outside, which is cold out, but whatever, or maybe you're somewhere warm, like just get movement in. It's like true that the endorphins like build and you start to feel like happier.
Yeah. It is. It's mental fucking
Endorphins
toughness.
make you happy. Isn't that what
endorphins make you happy? Yeah.
Elwood said?
Oh.
No.
No, it was Elwood's.
I think it was Regina George.
No. Endorphins make you happy. Yeah, she's talking about it.
Yeah.
No, it is
Something.
Elwood's.
Okay.
Great.
Next. Our last question is about social media and what influencers to know and how to know who's credible. I mean, there's like a gajillion people that I think.
I will tell you, most people that are promoting something are promoting it for a paycheck.
Here's my 100%. Here's my other thing is I literally don't understand how when you use the most toxic language, you become mega famous. Like all of these people are like snatched waist, tone in 2 weeks, lose 2,000 pounds in 5 days with my secret sauce class. And I'm literally, that's how I'm going to start promoting.
Secret sauce.
But I'm literally like, all of this shit makes so much like trending noise. And then they've got like millions of followers. And I'm like, you are literally promoting toxicity. And it's funny because I've started to like unfollow these people that I followed because of the way that they're promoting their programs.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, yes, you're getting famous. Yes, you're getting a ton of followers and probably more money towards your program. But you're not promoting like the right thing.
Yes. I just saw literally, so there's like a bunch of different like Chicago girls groups on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
I just saw 2 days ago, a girl in one of these groups posted a picture of Lori Harvey in a bathing suit. And it was like, does anyone know how I can get a snatch waistline and look exactly like Lori Harvey? Insert all of these fucking people being like, I just read that Lori Harvey said that she does Pilates 4 times a week. Maybe you should try Pilates. I just think that you should train your shoulders heavier and maybe your ass a little bit heavier to give the illusion that your waistline is just smaller. Have you thought about exploring like exactly what you're eating every day? Because it sounds like it's not like blah, 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 blah. Like I'm talking this post.
Well, this goes down to who's credible.
Yes. This post went from like being posted and having no comments to having 100 fucking comments of all of these people. And I literally was this close to commenting it, being like, can we all be so fucking for real?
Yeah.
Can we be so fucking for real? Because for starters, one, Lori Harvey has all the money and resources at her disposal to look and do and be however she wants to look and do and be. Number fucking one. Number two, it's what it is. It's this toxic influencer culture that's like, if you do exactly these 3 things in this amount of time, you will look. And that is just not the fucking case. And we all need to hop off this like naive horseback that we're on where we're like
I think it's like an if X then Y, and it's like, no, like that's not it.
And also like bodies are physically structured different. If you're not somebody who has like that hourglass shape, there is no fucking workout that is going to create that hourglass shape. And the fact that we as women, not us, because we would never, but the fact that women get on these platforms and feed this information to other women who are genuinely like, I really want to be or look like this is so inappropriate.
Well, here's my thing is when you start your fitness journey and let's say you're looking online, these random people that are telling you what to do are likely not credible. Whoever told you to do Pilates, are they a certified Pilates instructor? Whoever told you to do bar, are they a certified bar instructor, certified cycling, certified personal trainer? And on top of it, what continuing education are these people doing? Or did they take this training way long ago and now they think they're amazing and can just do whatever they want? I think that there's a lot of falsehoods out there on the internet, and I think you have to be really careful about who you listen to, what you watch, and what you look at.
Yeah, because like the unfortunate truth is that at the end of the fucking day, majority of people don't give a fuck about you and your health or anything. They give a fuck about what's being fed into their pockets.
I was going to say how much money they're making.
So sad about society in general, but like you have to like be conscious of that. Most people, especially strangers that are trying to give you advice about something that they sell, do not have your best interest in mind.
Yeah, I think that it's
Especially when it comes to fitness. And if it says in 8 weeks, look like this.
or get a snatched waist. I don't even know what the fuck that means. So immediately swipe left.
Yeah.
On a dating app.
On a dating app.
But you know what I mean? Like immediately just like look at it. Like I think like take it with a grain of salt. There is no, as we started to in this whole Q&A section, like there is no magic to just like look a certain way, do a certain thing. Like it takes work. And I think that you really just have to be cautious about what you look at in the internet because there are a lot of people selling.
We sound like everybody's mom. We're like,
But
careful
truly,
what you see on the internet.
No, but it's true. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of people that are like, buy my this and you'll look this way. And then you spend $200 and you're like, wait, I don't look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to go buy someone else's thing. And you're just like down the spiral of like $8,000 later. You're like,
I've bought
don't look a certain way.
19,000 bikini body guides and I still don't have a bikini
I did
body.
Buy those when
I did too. Kayla It Signs or whatever.
Yeah, I do think she programs like pretty well, like her programming. But I also like we could go down a whole rabbit hole on her too. Yeah, I would say like also if you're just starting out in like this fitness world, start with what you enjoy. Like just start there.
Yeah.
Like what do you like to do? What makes you feel good? Start there, start doing it, and then start exploring a little more. But if you're looking at like, and this is nutrition too, and I say this all the time because everybody in their life is a health coach right now, and so it's like, well, look at where did they get their training from? What are you looking for them to provide you? I think that's a good question to ask as well.
So I guess like the big take home here about like all of these questions about how to find where to start, who's credible, blah, blah, blah. I think you have to ask yourself like, what is it exactly you're looking to achieve? Are you just looking to like hop on the Pilates trend because everybody's doing Pilates? Are you looking to like focus on gut health because like that's the like buzzword right now?
Yeah.
Like I think you have to really at the end of the day be like, what the fuck do I want for myself?
Yeah.
And like once you narrow that down, then you can kind of start ignoring the noise that like pops up on your social and I mean, don't get me wrong, like
there's
I myself am trying to be more involved in social because I think that like at the end of the day it's free fucking advertising and like I'm not gonna like pretend that it's not. So
there's
I
a lot
get
of
it.
Good out there too.
There
like,
is.
Let's just say that as well. There's a lot of good information out there, whether it comes to health, food, fitness, exercise, science,
there
like
is
everything. So
not everyone's a quack.
Yeah, not us, kind of. But just use your brain.
Use your brains, everybody.
Use your brain.
Use your brain. Think about what you really want. Get out of your fucking head. Just get up and do some shit. It's gonna suck.
But
until it doesn't.
Do it. Like I think the biggest thing, if you walk away with anything, is like you have the ability to change your own life. You have the ability to make choices for your own life. Like that is also like the beauty of where we are in our life right now. And I think that you can choose to be where you're at, or you can choose to move forward in whatever way that is. And that goes to everything that we said, like from how you live your life, any supplements you want to take, whatever it is, you've got choices to make. And wake the fuck up, do it, and make those choices and start living like a more proactive life. But you can also take a back seat in your life, or you can take the front seat. And I think that that's it.
That's it. Yeah. There's no like.
And the podcast is over. I'm just kidding.
About it. And that's all we had to fucking say to you, lazy fucks. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's it.
JK.
But that's all our questions for this.
Yeah,
ride the slide segment.
Keep them coming. Ride the slide.
But please.
I'm making Darius a fucking t-shirt that says "Ride the slide."
Honestly, with like a little slide,
just
maybe
and just him.
2 girls are riding it.
Yeah, it'll be the only merch dirty. Of that variety I print, but that it's going straight to him for Christmas.
But anyway.
Yeah, let us know if you have any other, or if there's something we talk about that you want us to expand upon. Like, we're happy to dedicate a whole episode to something. We just wanted to we kept having stuff pop up, and we just wanted to touch on some things so that you guys felt like we were.
Yeah, I also think
paying attention to you, even though we're really just paying attention to us.
Yeah, no. I really think this is like a full, should be a full monthly, quarterly, something like that segment.
Yeah,
because I think it is you guys clearly have questions, and we clearly have a lot to say.
We have endless amounts of shit to say.
But anyway, I think it's tequila
am
time.
waiting till the day that I shut the fuck up, but it's not coming anytime soon. Yeah.
Never. It will be very hard to shut me up.
Yeah.
Unless I need like jaw surgery or something, then I'll be like, I have to be shut up.
And she'll still be
I'll
scribbling
write.
away.
Yeah.
Podcast drops Tuesdays at midnight. We have a bunch of really great people coming. So please
Follow us. The Girls Are Fine on TikTok and Instagram, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Check us out on all channels.
Yes.
And don't forget to slide into our DMs. And always remember that, girl,
everything's
everything's
fine.
fine. See ya.